Today we'll be meeting with attorney Anu Peshawaria. I'm right here in her offices in Fremont. Recently, she's been appointed by the Government of India as an advisor for the Embassy of India and also the Consulate of India to provide information and guidance on legal matters relating to overseas Indians. Ms. Peshawaria has over 20 years of experience in providing guidance on immigration matters to women and men across the USA. Today, we'll be talking to Ms. Peshawaria about her background, her work with VAVA, her work assisting women in India and the USA, Seva legal aid, and many other issues, such as her landmark cases. So let's get started and meet attorney Anu Peshawaria. Ms. Anu Peshawaria, you have been recently appointed as an advisor to the Embassy of India in Washington, D.C., and also 5 consulates throughout the U.S. to serve India. How does that make you feel?
Well, I feel really humbled. I feel honored, and I hope I'm able to do my job properly.
Yeah. And how did this position come about? You've done over 20 years, your career spans over 20 years, and you've done so much work in, legal aid, immigration, and helping women throughout the U.S. and India, Indian women that come from India to the U.S. How did this particular position come about for you?
Actually, it is an interviewed position which was called by the Washington, D.C., and I had applied. And when I went there, I was very keen to know what the position is about.
Okay.
And then at that time, they told me that primarily this position is to help all overseas Indians all over USA.
Okay.
And I was very keen to know in what capacity and what to do. And that's when I was told that I've been already doing the same kind of work
Okay.
for the last so many years.
Yes.
And particularly educating overseas Indian women of their marital rights, of
Okay.
domestic violence, on children issues, on custody issues. So primarily being in the immigration area for the last almost 20 years,
Okay.
I was able to address most of their questions and concerns.
Okay.
And that's when they selected me.
Okay. So can you give me an example of, an Indian woman gets married in the U.S. She comes here, and what are some of the problems that, maybe talk about a potential case that someone would encounter that you would be helping with the embassy in India? Can you talk about any type of case, like a sample case that you would help with?
First of all, most of the women who come here, they come on a dependent status.
Okay.
Because the U.S. government does not give status to anybody who's the wife of a person who's working. For example, you come on an H1 to United States.
Okay.
So the wife will be on an H4 status.
Yes.
She cannot work. So that itself sometimes brings about a lot of domestic violence, issues, frustrations. If you've heard of that case which took place in the Silicon Valley, which was so huge,
Yes.
when that man shot the whole family.
Whole family.
Whole family, there was a total frustration.
Yes.
And the woman is the survivor.
Yes.
Now, for example, I filed a petition for that woman's mother
Okay.
to support her.
Okay.
Because at this time, she cannot go through all that she's going through.
Yes.
So I helped her mother get a status to live in United States,
Okay.
to help the woman because she can barely move.
Okay.
Another case example is when a woman is deserted in India.
Okay.
And she is in India, she cannot even come here to get recourse to justice. And a man files divorce against her. So she's divorced.
Okay.
Now, at that point of time, he doesn't file her papers.
Okay.
She becomes illegal. She's deported. She wants to re-enter United States. She cannot.
cannot.
So I filed humanitarian parole for her in the consulate in New Delhi
Okay.
and obtained the humanitarian parole.
Okay.
So another type of case can be when a child is with you and one of the child is taken across the border
Okay.
without permission.
Okay.
Now, does that become kidnapping?
Taken across the border to India or brought
To
here?
India, to
Okay.
India,
Okay.
from here, or
Right.
vice versa,
Okay.
but without any custody orders of the court. Now, the custody, when the custody comes, the woman files a court case in India,
Yes.
which gives her the custody,
Yes.
and the man files a case here, which gives him the custody.
Sure.
So both the Supreme Courts or both the courts are opposed to each other.
Okay.
What to do in such a case?
Yes.
These are the kind of issues I've been addressing for the last 10, 15 years.
Wow, those are some very heavy and important cases that you've been doing. And there are some landmark cases in your career. There's the Uttarakhand case. Can you talk about the Uttarakhand case, please?
Well, Uttarakhand was quite some time back when a number of demonstrators, simple demonstrators, were going for the statehood of Uttarakhand. And when suddenly police started lathi charge on them.
Okay.
Started to, and the women ran berserk in the sugarcane fields, and there were reported cases of rape.
Okay.
There were a number of women who were killed, bruised, and there were a lot of them rape charges. So I was appointed as the advisor to National Commission for Women to go and investigate.
Okay.
I investigated that case, and at that point of time I realized that these women are counting on me to take their case to the Supreme Court, to fight for their cause, get them justice. So I made my submissions to the Supreme Court, requested them for a full-fledged inquiry into the matter, and because of the inquiry, the women all got compensation, and there was also an apology required where something could be done for them. So I fought for all the victims of Uttarakhand, presented the case in the way it was so that Government of India could take action.